Wow, North Korea is scary because they conducted their fifth nuclear test underground, one so powerful that it caused a 5.3 on the Richter scale earthquake. It's not the first time this has happened, but the news coming out of Pyongyang is that this nuclear warhead is their most powerful ever, and that Kim Jong un is behaving with maniacal recklessness in the wake of this test. And even North Korea's only ally, China, specifically asked Kim Jong un not to conduct this test. What I fear isn't so much that North Korea will try to reach America, which is quite possible in terms of modern technological warfare, but Japan. And I say that about Japan because Japan is trapped. After the end of World War II and the imposition of something called the Dodge Policy, which is named for the American leader that was charged with essentially restructuring Japan's national spending after it was taken over by the United States and the Allies, caused a position such that Japan can only spend 1% of its gross domestic product on defense. To this day, that's it. That's it. So Japan's position is in stark contrast to North Korea's, which spends an estimated 1/3 of its GDP on defense. That's right, that much. On top of all that, we don't know what North Korea's true intentions really are. Why Kim Jong un insists on saying that the United States is hostile to North Korea is beyond me. I mean, after all, Dennis Rodman just visited a few years ago, right? But, I'm not kidding when I say that. Dennis Rodman going over there was a big deal. There are people who discount that because Dennis Rodman is a black NBA athlete as opposed to a white businessman who's like Donald Trump, for example. But Dennis Rodman's visit to North Korea did a great deal for U.S.-American relations. And I don't think what he did should be discounted, and I think he should be congratulated every single turn. He may very well have delayed what seems to be developing now, which is a worsening position, a worsening relationship vis-a-vis the United States. Why, I don't know, because I haven't studied it, and I will. But I have to admit, for the first time since I was a little boy, I'm actually scared. Now, let me explain what I mean. When I was born in 1962, and a lot of you wonder why are you Zenny 62? Or those of you who know that I'm 54 years old, and I say that proudly. And I say it for this reason. I was born at the dawn, or just after the dawn of the nuclear age. I say that because the bombs of Hiroshima and Nagasaki that were dropped in 1941 for 1940 were such that by 1962, the United States and Russia at that point had fully developed nuclear arsenals. And the question of whether or not that arsenal would be deployed was raised during something called the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, what happened was that Cuba was, at that time, a communist stronghold and had as its ally the emerging Soviet Union. CIA intelligence officials found nuclear warheads at Cuba. Cuba's very close to the United States. That started the Cuban Missile Crisis and U.S. President John F. Kennedy's insistence that those missiles be removed. And the events leading up to that eventual occurrence brought us very close to the first, what would have been World War III, unquestionably. That was 1963. I was born in 1962. The next, during that time, during that period of time that I was born, and a small boy in Chicago, we had, for a time, bomb shelter drills. There was a big siren in the neighborhood going, and you'd have to go down into your basement and basically stay there. And there was a requirement, well, not a law, but a suggested requirement to have food and water for so many days. I think it was for 2 weeks or something. Basically a bunker. And I remember thinking, gee, is this going to be for the rest of my life? And then toward the mid to late 60s, those tests subsided and they eventually went away. But now, with North Korea, we may have to start thinking about how to prepare to defend ourselves and survive a nuclear attack all over again as people. That's scary. We have lived for several decades under the safety of mutually assured destruction. That was two primary powers. But now we have North Korea, which enters the fray, or is trying to enter the fray, and is behaving in a way that is described as being maniacally reckless. That changes the game, and it changes our lives. And we've got to start asking ourselves questions. Most notably, I think the best question we can ask ourselves as a leading tech company is, how can we employ tech to stop North Korea? That's the question on the table. And I'll follow that up on another vlog.